Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Four Lads Rangers Monday Night Live. Rangers yesterday drew with Kaiser Chiefs. Cammy Devlin has signed and joined. We've been linked to another 100 players, and we'll discuss it all this evening. And joining us is the original OG, Kenny himself. Kenny, how are you?
I'm okay, mate. Yeah, woke up this morning with a very bad head cold, bit of a sore throat, but apart from that, I'm absolutely fine.
And also joined by our historian himself, the man with all the knowledge, host of our very own This Week in Rangers, Davy Herd. Davy, how are you, mate? Are you well?
I'm very good, thank you. Enjoying the sunshine down here in the Ayrshire Riviera. And I booked my January holiday in Tenerife today, so things are good.
That man goes on far too many holidays, but we'll get into that. That's for sure. I'd like to thank and welcome our sponsors this evening. CBD Oil Scotland. Get a massive 30% off by quoting Four Lads. Just Four Lads, actually. That's all you need to quote on their website for 30% off. Candid, our ice cream sponsors. So I sent Amrit a brand new laptop and microphone today for all his podcasting needs. And then I sent him my address. He said, "What's that for?" I said, "Send me some ice cream." He hasn't replied. So never mind. Also our other sponsors, LBJ Consultants, Elite Scooter Scotland, Metaclad, Four Lads Roofing Partners, and Aesthetics by Sharon, where you can get 10% off. All description of these partners are all in our description of the show. Go on and you can get your percentages off. If you do go and use any of them, please quote Four Lads and you'll get a percentage off, etc. Is that website wide for the 30% off on CBD Oil Scotland? Yes, it is. And yes, somebody's asked, Stevie in a Rangers top, is it the first time ever? Yes, it actually is. I'm not so fond of the football tops myself, but this one is a cracker and I really like it. And people were asking about the patterns. I don't know if you can see it, but the patterns are actually the RFCs and they're all kind of intertwined by the black stripes in it. So I actually really, really like it. And yeah, this is a pro edition. So yeah, really enjoy it. It's a wee bit tight fitting. Stevie's a wee bit curvier than normal. So yeah. Let's move on quickly. Kenny, Rangers drew with Kaiser Chiefs yesterday, 1-1. We managed to get updates on Four Lads from one of the guys that were there that we know. Not a lot to kind of go on, but there was some highlights on Rangers TV this morning. Finlay Curtis with that goal in the last minute. Keeps the unbeaten run going. Keeps things ticking over nicely. Notable, Dan Neil captain to side. He was a standout for the boys that were there. And Nadeem Bayrami hitting the post at the end. Good run out, decent side. We woke up to about 500 South Africans had followed us on X and also Kaiser Chiefs official website. 3.1 million followers now follows Four Lads. So that was a bit amusing this morning and an influx of followers, but we'll take them. Welcome. I think they thought maybe we were something official to do with Rangers. We're certainly not. So yeah, 1-1 draw with Kaiser Chiefs, Kenny. I'm going to bring the squad, the teams up just to go through while you tell us your thoughts.
It's just more minutes in the legs, Stevie. The first of two games over in Spain. And yeah, I wasn't impressed with the goal we lost, but do you think Finlay Curtis meant that? If he did, it's the goal of the season already. Absolute peach of a strike if he meant it. I don't think he did. I think you could see his reaction. But Stevie, the thing that I took most from it was Daniel being the captain. He's obviously making a bit of an impression on the manager and on his coaches. So that was an interesting one. I'm not saying I didn't expect it, but it kind of caught me on the hop. Didn't really know who the captain was going to be. So that was what I kind of really took from it. Listen, it's a good run out. It's a good workout against a good side. We must remember that they are a decent side and they're a big club. So to go there and get another 90 minutes in the legs with another 90 to come over in Spain, and then we've got the two games at Ibrox thereafter it. Yeah, we're beginning to shape up, I think. I think that's what I would say. Interesting that after Derek McKenna said he's got plenty of work still to do. But yeah, Not a lot you can say about friendlies, Stevie. You can't go overboard and you can't get upset either. It's a poor goal we lost. There is no question of that. But again, it's to get this out your system. Hopefully, is where I kind of see it. So yeah, that's another 90 minutes in the bank.
Yeah, biggest concern down the right hand side again. Tav absolutely nowhere to be seen. When we're going to learn. Davey, heard this Rangers do play another game in Spain on July 16th against JDT FC, who are a Malaysian side. So we play them on the 16th, which is what we on today, 13th, Thursday. I make that Thursday. I see, still got it. That old math up there, yep. Having to add 3 days on from today's date, still got it. What was your overall thoughts on last night? You would have watched the friendly highlights, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's similar to Kenny. I think it's awful difficult to draw huge conclusions from games like that when the purpose of it really is just to build fitness, as Kenny calls it, minutes in the legs. Maybe try out different formations, maybe try and build an understanding between players that didn't have one before. But team bonding while they're away, I would like to think. But winnings is somewhere that we put at the top. I'm just not quite sure how far to the top of the priorities winning was yesterday for Derek McInnes and the players. I've seen loads of friendlies over the years. Sometimes we've been brilliant and had rubbish seasons. Sometimes we've been terrible and had good seasons. So I'm not going to get bent out of shape either way about it. I think, like Kenny, I think though there was a couple of things from it. One being Dan Neil and how much he's impressed so far. I think people who watched it said how good he was. I think the fact that the manager's already starting to give him an armband to tell you something as well. Another thing is Finlay Curtis scoring the goal already. The way he finished the season with Kilmarnock last year, I think this is a huge season for him at Rangers. I think he needs to play. I'm sure he will play. And I'll tell you what, if he does play, he will be a goal threat. Because if you're going to be a goal threat, in substitute appearances and for a Kilmarnock team fighting relegation, you will be a goal threat in a Rangers team. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that young boy does this season.
Yeah, I think Finlay Curtis is one where we will go on to discuss. I'm just trying to find the post last night to go through the team news, and of course, can I find it? Nope. Here we go. Okay, it was Ryder Maguire in goals, McCrory, Godfrey, Sterling, Romans, Chugwani, Diamande, Neil, Ant-Man, Chermiti, Nadiri. Diamande played off the right. Ant-Man played off the left, which we've all been crying out for, which was interesting. Chermiti played up and Nadiri was just behind him. Neil and Chugwani in the middle. It's going to be a 4-4-1-1. That's how Derek McInnes plays. Roman played left. McCrory played right, I believe, and it was Sterling and Godfrey in the middle. So, yeah, not a lot to kind of go over from that. We don't know basically much else other than that. The team in the second half, see, I don't like X. It kind of mucks up and I can't find, when you do it all and it's not, I'm like, here it is. Right, second half. Mason Munn played, McCrory, Fernandez, Godfrey, Neil, Sterling, Romans, Bayrami, Diamande, Chermiti, and Nadiri. Inciala, Shanklin, Curtis, Miofsky came on for Nadiri, Romans, Sterling, and Chermiti. Just about 75 odd minutes. There was a couple other subs. Kaiser Chiefs then took the lead in 77 minutes from a Rangers corner. Rangers were kind of slow getting back. They broke away. Curtis then equalised with an 89th minute, which Rangers Review described as a cross-come shot. I'm telling you, it was a volley right into the top corner that was meant by Finlay. Boys, overall, I think from my point of view, it's minutes in the legs. It keeps things tiding over. I know from the guys that were there said it wasn't the most vintage. There was bits and pieces, but there's a lot of work to be done. This is the time to get it all ironed out. We remain unbeaten in pre-season. Maybe it doesn't mean a lot, but it means, to me, you get in habits, and that's what I'm looking for as well. So, I'll take the draw, take the minutes in the legs, takes, more game time for new players and stuff like that, and we'll go on. But what do you make of Dan Neil being captain? Is there anything we should read into that?
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. I mean, it depends on who comes and who goes, but Yeah, I mean, it's Lawrence Shankland's not long in the building, so
he of course took over captaincy for the last 15 minutes.
Yes, and that's what I mean. That he's a natural kind of leader, and was Hearts captain last season. So interesting that he's went with Dan Neil, who's a lot younger, 24, and maybe just turned 25. Was it last week? I don't know. But the point being that it's surprising, because I always feel when a lad comes from another country and they take a little bit of time to settle in, and going by the reports that he has settled in right away. He is, even in the footage that you see of the training, getting on the flight and stuff like that, he looks a bubbly character. He's laughing, he's joking, he's talking away. So he's obviously integrating really quickly, and that's good. And for me, I'll reiterate what I said the last question, Stevie. To me, for Derek McInnes to have him here for basically 10 days and look at him and instantly kind of make him a captain, whether it's full time or not, he's obviously impressed our manager, and that's all you can hope for at this minute in time. Whether he's a captain come the start of the season, we will wait and see. But with other news that we're going to discuss, there's going to be, if there is going to be a leadership group, you would imagine that he's going to be in it. So it is kind of interesting that what we have done is identified captains and leaders and bringing them into our squad, which has been sorely missed. We've talked about it for 2 years solid, haven't we, about the lack of leadership at Rangers. So in that respect, it's good to see more than anything else. How much I can read into it, I don't know yet, Stevie. I genuinely don't.
What do you make of it, Davey?
I make of it very similar to what Kenny's just been saying. I suppose when you read out the starting 11, who else do you think might have been the captain? McCrory, maybe. Although he's just came back. You would give it to somebody young like Fernandez, who looked a bit of an organiser and a leader last year when he played. But I mean, Daniel was the captain of Sunderland when they won promotion just over a year ago, wasn't he? Just about 15 months ago, he captained them at Wembley. So whether he's 24 or 25-year-old, he's obviously got leadership experience and at a pretty big club. I mean, Sunderland's got a huge fan base. So I wasn't greatly surprised, I suppose, when you look at who the 11 were. I think it would surprise me if he ended up starting the season as captain, if I'm honest. I would probably think, I think if Shankland had started yesterday, I think he probably would have captained that team. But who the captain's going to be next season when it actually starts, I think that greatly depends on the ins and outs between now and when that Dundee United game is. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot more twists and turns in the transfer market to come, both in and out, before that Dundee United game.
Yeah, and we'll come on to that. Some big news over the weekend. We covered it on Saturday morning, but I'm keen to get both your thoughts. Pre-season this week in Sun, week in the Sun in Spain, squad working hard. Really is more about match fitness, another bounce one to come, but it certainly looks like they're working hard. Last night in full time, Kenny, they were straight back out to do a fitness session. Most of them obviously only getting 45, half an hour, 45 in the leg, so they were all out there doing another session again. It's got to be good for them.
Yeah, I bet they don't feel that way though. Getting through pre-season, I've not done a pre-season for many years, and it used to bust my balls, but I hated it. It was so hard. It was genuinely a really tough period where, it's difficult, put it that way. I was going to say something, I'll leave it. But, yeah, again, Derek McInnes mentioned this the other day, talking about double sessions, getting games, thereafter the game, they're on another session. It's all about getting them absolutely prepared 100% for the first kickoff of the season, Stevie. They've got to be ready. I want to see a Rangers team in 2 weeks and Friday it is now. It's not far away at all, Stevie. We have to have a team that's prepared and ready, and nothing like what we witnessed last season, where it was an absolute shambles down at Fir Park, if you remember. We can't have that.
I remember I was there. So yeah.
But the point I'm making is that for all, if I remember right, we scored first, wasn't it? I think it was
Tav scored after 10 minutes.
He did, and we then proceeded to get played off the park every time we played Motherwell. So it is one of those for Derek McInnes and those players. It is about being at your prime, at your optimum. In less than 3 weeks, Stevie, we've got to be ready. We've got to get up there, take the 3 points, and start putting pressure on everybody else round about us. Because if you want to win leagues, you want to win trophies, Stevie, you have to be ready in the first for the first game of the season. There's no point in dropping points, and we've had a real habit over the seasons of dropping points at the start of the season, Stevie. And you're always playing catch up, and we can't do that. We have to be ready. So I don't mind it. Whatever Derek McInnes feels these players are going to have to suffer, then they're going to have to suffer it and make sure they're ready, mate.
I would just like to point out that I was always ready to start the season. I came in one shape, one size, that was 2 stone overweight, and I was always ready to go. Davey, it's all about fitness and everything else in Spain, but what's your kind of overall take on how it's went so far in pre-season and the results against Dunfermline, Wraith, Kaiser Chiefs? What are you kind of thinking about it?
Yeah, well, the first thing I was going to say, if they think Spain's bad, it's just the ghost of Jock Wallace would like to see them running down the sands at Gillane, wouldn't they? That'd be a lot more strenuous for them. Kenny's absolutely right. It's all about getting them ready for the start of the season, and it feels as if it's been a while since we actually won the first day of the season. We've had a lot of bad starts over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I'm trying to think. I think it might be Livingston when Van Bronckhorst was manager.
Livingston, we won that game 2-1, didn't we? 2 late goals, so we were 1-0 down, and then Scotty Arfield and Tav scored a free kick 2 in a minute. So yeah, I think that was 2022 going into 23 season. So yeah.
So, and if you look at the sort of first quadrant of fixtures we've got a lot of. We've got to Tannadice, we've got to Tynecastle, we've got Parkhead, we've got Park Pittodrie. It's a really tough set of fixtures they've got in the first 10 games. So we've got to get them absolutely ready to be firing from minute 1 in game 1. And that means getting them as fit as they can possibly be, getting them as ready as they can possibly be. And it would be good to see them winning a couple of friendlies at Ibrox coming up. That would be nice. But the most important thing is that they go out on the Friday night at Tannadice and go top of the league after 1 game, because that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? In terms of the results so far, I struggle to read too much into it other than last season and the previous seasons when we've been absolutely terrible. There was not a Welsh team beat us last year in the first season away closed door game. It looks a damn sight better.
Beat us 1-0.
It looks a damn sight better than that. I think McInnes is doing all the right things. He's saying all the right things in terms of what he wants. He's doing all the right things in terms of the profile of players he's bringing in. And I'm cautiously optimistic, but there's still quite a lot to happen, I think, before the real stuff starts.
Yeah, Tour Romans has been the latest one to speak from pre-season. Kenny, he says he's looking forward to the upcoming season, believes the new manager will be good for Rangers, disappointed about last season, but he'll use that disappointment to inspire him. Says he's not really a big talker in the dressing room. He says that he does his talking out on the pitch, and that's how he likes to lead and how he likes to respond. He's not thought about captaincy at the football club, but he doesn't see himself as being one of the big voices in that dressing room. I found that quite interesting, quite honest as well. I liked it.
Yeah, what I really did like about it was the fact that he said that you got the impression he couldn't care less whether he was a captain or not. He'll lead on the pitch regardless. He will set an example. That's what he was basically saying. And to any of the new players, I think he said basically, I've only been here 6 months. It's not a huge amount of time. But any experience I have, I will give to the new players right away. And that was good to hear. Listen, I really don't like doing this, but I don't like harking back to a bygone era really these days. But when you look at Walter's first period at Ibrox, there was 7 or 8 captains in that team. There was. They didn't need a captain as such. Richard Gough led and would shout and ball if needed. But at the same time, there was so many of them in the team. so many. And I think that's perhaps what Derek McInnes is kind of looking to do, is get guys that will just lead by example. And when it gets into the dressing room, they might well shout and bawl at each other. That's what I want to see with a Rangers team. I don't know what you guys feel about that, but it's pretty much what I want, is 6 or 7 that are going to walk out with their shoulders out, their head held high, and say, we're Rangers and we're going to beat you today. And I'm beginning to get that feeling that with the likes of Tour Romans, we've already seen him since January. He's got that about him already, and he's adding to it. So to me, it's brilliant. And he's such a young man with a kind of a mature head and his shoulders, Tour Romans, that I have no doubts that he will have an outstanding season. I just think he's one of those that, exactly what I've just said, he leads by example, and that's all you can hope for. And as I say, the last thing I would say on it is that, having read the interview, you do get that impression. He's not interested in armbands and stuff like that. It's all about winning. That's all it is for him. Getting the 3 points and winning trophies. That's all he's interested in.
Should be all that anybody's interested in, Rangers, to be quite honest. Davy, Rangers confirmed today that they've entered into a loan cooperation agreement with Queen's Park, which was something that we broke on this podcast a couple of weeks ago, and of Alloa Athletic of League One ahead of the season 2 are going there straight away. That is young Aidan McCallion, young midfielder, who is central midfielder. He's actually somebody I quite like the look of. I believe that we got a wee bit of a kind of peek at him against Falkirk, didn't we, on the last day of the season? And he looked not bad. Lewis Stewart, who is, so they boys are going to Queen's Park on loan. I believe that Lewis Stewart spent the season at Alloa last year and did really well with them. He plays on the right wing, I believe, and he was getting rave reviews down there, so he done really well. So they two young boys take the step up off to Championship Queen's Park, which I think is a good move.
I think it's an excellent move. I'm going to slightly turn it around right at the start and say we had the big conversation with Baylor Rice during the close season before he re-signed his contract, and that's the kind of thing probably we should have done with him when he was 17. Is put him to a championship club and gave him a year. And I think the very fact that his career didn't kick on, partly it was because he didn't get games regularly enough. And I think it's really important that youngsters who we think are going to be good enough have got to go and play. And the majority of them won't get the chance to play in our first team unless they're absolutely exceptional. So you need to find somewhere else for them to play. They basically learn their craft. And I quite like the idea that there's a championship team, there's a Division 1 team. Probably the ones that are closer to getting into our squad will go to the championship. The ones that are right at the start of their journey will probably go to the Division 1. It makes a lot of sense. I can definitely see I think there'll be more than one of the young players that come on at Falkirk in the last day of the season will end up at one of those clubs. It wouldn't surprise me if there's another couple. The CBD Oil Scotland, I think, is probably going to end up at one of them if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it looks like he's been getting discussed, hasn't he, for a loan move as well, which I think is a great move for him. I'm definitely with you there, David. It's a good point. We can't afford these players to stagnate. I think when you look at the guys previously that we've been touting as being good prospects, I think Leon King could have done with a move at that age and played some championship football, and he's flourished at Ayr this year, and he's going to get a good move for him, so we're delighted for Leon. And if you look at not only Leon, but Bailey Rice has been the key one. We've probably held on to Bailey Rice so it'd be homegrown. Bailey Rice is now homegrown, but we need him to go and play football. We probably should have put him out earlier. Understand why they've not, and he's had injuries and things. But there's two reasons why this is a good move. Boys, we'll kind of head on to transfers. We're going to talk a lot about. There's some comments tonight about people panicking and things like that. Rangers are halfway through their transfer business. I'm led to believe that 6 to 8 will leave the football club, and there could be as many as another 4 to 6 coming in. I think we need to calm down in terms of where we are at this moment. One of the biggest news from the weekend, and we'll start with outgoings. I think that's a good place to start. John Suter and Danilo told to leave the football club. Danilo, I think we're all in agreement, was not a surprise. I think we've all known for quite a while Danny was going to go. I think it's the best move for Danny as well. Somebody that has not recovered well body-wise after his injuries. Big news, John Souttar been told to leave the football club. I think John Souttar, having won a new contract, to then be told to leave it is quite interesting. I think Derek McInnes has probably came in and just decided that the way he finished the season is not good enough. Boys, I'm eager for both of you to give me your opinion on John Souttar and Danilo's absence. Danilo we know, but more John Souttar. I'm quite surprised by it, given that he was signing a new deal and everything else. And then when we were told, oh, he's got a wee knock, and then all of a sudden, nah, it's not a knock. He's been asked to leave the football club. That took me slightly by surprise, Kenny.
Yeah, it is a little bit surprising because he did sign this year extension just a few months ago. So, however, the football stops for no man, and we've got a new manager in, and clearly he wants to build his own team. It's actually for me quite similar to the situation in the midfield, where you just get the impression he's trying to kind of rip it up and build a new team. We actually discussed this. I think all three of us discussed this at one point, where we said that Derek McInnes is one of those managers that he's played against us that often that he will know every flaw and weakness that we have, Stevie. And if we're going to be 100% honest, Danilo is one of those guys that you would look at and say, since his injuries, it's just not happened for him at all. The Scottish game is clearly too physical for him. When you see a guy quite openly pulling out of 50-50s, you know there's no confidence from him in his own body. So that's where Danilo is in the grand scheme of things. That we've got 4 strikers there. You're not going to sit about being fifth choice if you're a boy like Danilo. He won't want that. He's a lovely lad, we all know that, but he would not want to sit there and pick up a wage not playing football. John Souttar is different, where he has got that year extra. I don't think will be particularly difficult to deal with. I mean, there was rumour that Russell Martin was linked to taking him down to Leicester City. Whether that happens or not, we don't know yet. But the point I would make is that if you actually look at John Souttar, when he first got to Rangers, I actually was on another podcast, and I said that I genuinely believed that he's a future Rangers captain. And I heard you this morning on the Rangers Review, and you'd said that when Connor Goldson left, you expected John Souttar to kick on, and he's actually, if anything, he's got worse. And that's the kind of sad thing about it, that his form has been so up and down that there's times when you genuinely can't play him because he's a liability. And the last couple of months of that season, well, not even the last couple of months, because he didn't play much in the last 6-7 weeks, did he? It was that last couple of months that he was playing. He was an absolute bomb scare, Stevie. And it's sad to say it because I really like him, and I actually like him as a player. But you have to, you know, at Rangers, you've got to be judged on your performances, and they haven't been good enough. So, although I'm a little bit surprised when you look at the fact that it's for the first time in a long time, I think we've got a Rangers manager that's going to be quite ruthless with stuff like this, and he's just going to turn around and say, no, he's just not going to do. You'd be better if you left. And I think Derek McInnes, being the way he is, he'll say it in a nice manner, but you'll be under no illusions that your time's up. And sad it is for John Souttar. I don't think it's particularly sad for Rangers, Stevie. I've got to tell you the truth.
Davey, what's your thoughts on John Souttar's imminent departure? Were you surprised at all at the news? What's your thoughts on that, Danilo, as well? Yeah,
well, it did surprise me, and simply because I thought after signing the contract that he was going to be here for at least another year. That's what came as a surprise. If you look at his form last season, it's not a surprise. And I don't know, maybe the contract was signed with a view to try to get a fee for him rather than let him leave for nothing. I really don't know, but I don't think John Souttar's as bad as some people make him out to be. But at the same time, I don't think he's as good as we need. So, and that's the bottom line. The second bit's the bottom line for me. I thought that last season his confidence just disappeared. Remember, he came on against Celtic in a game. Was it the cup tie? I think it was the cup tie. And we had defended really well up until that point, and he made about 3 mistakes in the first 5 minutes he came on the park. And we hardly saw him after that, for good reason. So, was he 29? He's not going to get any better. In fact, he's only going to go in one direction from now on. It's not improvement. So it makes total sense to find him a new club and move him on. Obviously, what it does mean is that I think we already needed one centre-half. It means if he goes, we need two centre-halves coming into the building at some point before the season starts. Danilo, I would love it. I would loved it to have been successful for him at Rangers. I think he had a great attitude to playing for us. I thought that he had the potential to be a good penalty box goal scorer, but injuries have just absolutely done him. It's sad, but we'll never get any money for him now, I don't think. I think it's just a case of helping him find a club at a level that he can play at. And I'm not actually sure what level that is anymore. It may be better than back to South America, but he will still be getting paid a nice wage from us, and we might have to actually subsidise him moving, unfortunately, because other than that, like, I know Kenny's saying if he wants to play first team football, he's got to move. But he's a professional player who will never see another contract like the one he's on just now. So it wouldn't surprise me if we have to give him a little sweetener to move him on. But I wish him well, because I think it's one of these ones, what might have been. I think he might have been a good Rangers player if circumstances had been there.
Yeah, listen, I think Danny instinctively was a brilliant striker for us. Still showed flashes of being able to score goals. When you think about Hibs and Kelly last season when he got a couple, but he's just, I think I look at him, Danny, and I think he is, I think his body's just not strong enough for the Scottish game anymore. With regards to interest, there's massive interest in Danny. Portugal, Holland, and back home in South America, they all want him. Brazilian teams are looking at Danny. So, listen, I don't think we're going to have to pay him off. I think we'll end up getting a fee. I don't think it'll be a big one. I think you'll get $1 million and a half for Danny, which you consider, what we paid for him isn't great. But I just think that's one of these things. So you've got Suter, you've got Danilo, Jose Cifuentes' time at the club is over. He's got to find a new club. That's 3 already. Clinton and Ciala will be one that most likely has moved on. Then that's before you even touch the first team players currently. Lyle Cameron, where's he going to feature? Nadeem Bayrami, does he have a future? I'm not sure he does. Then you look at Mohamed Diamande, you look at Connor Barron, you look at Nico Raskin, interest in all of them. Nico Raskin being the biggest one. Nico Raskin in the quarterfinals had 9 recoveries, amongst the biggest and best players in the whole of the quarterfinals. Now the time for Rangers most likely to cash in. So I think when I said at the start there would be 6 to 8 leaving the football club, I think when you look at your suitors and you look at your Danilos, Jose Cifuentes, Nadeem Bayrami, Mohamed Diamande, Connor Barron, Nico Raskin, I think that's 7 before we've even really scratched the surface of what's in that squad, Kenny. People need to be a wee bit realistic in what we are trying to do here. You cannot turn over a squad in a night. We've tried to do that before and it doesn't work. And I think a wee bit of patience needs to be in terms of who's going to leave. If you look at that list that we've just rhymed off, the possibilities in there, add them to the ones that have already left, your Tabs, your Kieran Wrights, all your loan players, we're going to be up at easily 12 to 15 departures before this window closes.
Yeah, and you didn't mention Oliver Antman, who's attracted interest. You didn't mention Jada Gassama, who's attracted interest. It's, Tello Asgard's another one that's attracted interest. There is so many that you would look at, and this is where it is intriguing for us as supporters, that it's going to be very interesting over the next couple of months till this, 7 weeks, I think it is, till this transfer window, shuts. You're going to find what Derek McInnes really feels about a lot of different players. Can we get rid of them all? No, absolutely not. Even if Derek McInnes wanted to gut that in that way, you won't get rid of them all. However, I'm with you. I actually still think, honestly, there'll be 8 or 9 going out the door. I genuinely do think it'll be as many as that, and it'll be 6 or 7 coming in. And what do you do? Because, you know, somebody like Lyle Cameron is a boy that we've signed who had a cracking season with Dundee, and you just take a look at it, and he's now had 3 different managers, and none of them fancy him. So, you know, for that boy's own sake, he's got to move on, and he'll be on a decent wage at Rangers, you know, comparison to what he was on before. But you have to find the move for him, whether that's another year on loan, and you just, I mean, I would be more inclined to, you know, if it was Lyle Cameron I'm talking about here, I would be suggesting someone like Aberdeen again. Go and see if he can cause damage in our league to other, you know, teams round about us. But there's so many of them, Stevie, and that's the kind of issue that I have. The ones that you mentioned initially, yes, I do agree that I think you'll find they're all going. They will all go. They've been told basically you've no future here. The other ones, as I say, as the pre-season, you know, finishes and the start of the season, you know, comes around, you'll probably start to see Derek McInnes thoroughly making decisions on that, and you'll find, you know, you'll probably see that our board is trying to push guys and agents and get these things done towards the end of the window. And patience is going to be a virtue for us, for also all the supporters here, because you know, Derek said it, I think Jim Gillespie said it, that we will be busy right up until the end of this window. So we're going to have to accept that. And you know what Rangers fans are like. We all want our work and our business done now, but it isn't going to happen. But it will be intriguing, because we need to remember, Stevie, the bottom line is this team finished third in the Premier League last season. That is not good enough, and we are a mile away from being a good side. So it's now up to Derek McInnes and our board to make those ruthless decisions.
Yeah, in that, Davey, I think Kerry makes a really good point. This is a squad that finished third in the league. I'm not sure that there's anybody in that first team that you're really overly worried about going. If you lost a Fernandez, if you lost a Chermiti, if you lost a Raskin, these are probably the players that you don't want to go. But you're going to get a massive amount of money for them. So that tapers it or a wee bit, I think. So from that, the ones that you do want to move on, personally, if John Suter and Danilo have been told you're going, so you take them out of the picture, you obviously want to lose your Jose Cifuentes because he's not going to do anything. Oscar Cortez is still on loan, I think, till January, so we can't really shift him on at the moment. I would like to see Rangers move on Connor Barron. If you're getting that 6 to 8 million, there is definite interest in him. I would like to see Rangers move on Tello Asgard, because I don't see where he fits in. And if you're getting a hell of a lot of money for him, which is rumoured, then I'd like to see that move being made. I think that Mohamed Diamante's run his race at Rangers. There's a staleness there. He's never improved. He's never kicked on. If we get a proper amount of money for him, I'd be inclined to say, let's move him on. I think when you look at Nico Raskin, I think there was a staleness about Nico last year. In reality, I absolutely love Nico. Everybody knows that. But if you're getting the type of money, I think now's the time to cash in on him. And then, you know, the front four I'm quite happy with. We need another winger. There's midfield work to be done. Probably need 2 centre-backs. You need left-back cover. Young Scally didn't travel because he's got a knock. Most likely he's going to head out on loan. So you're probably needing somebody at left side also. A lot of work to be done, but on the way outs, I think there's easily 6 to 8. I don't know what you think about some of the names I've mentioned there, Davey. I'd be keen to get your opinion on that.
Well, I think I'll start with Raskin, because I think he's actually the key to quite a lot of what happens if we do sell him. I'm not sure how much money I would take for him. I think there's a debate to be had as to what you would take for him, but he's got to be sold this summer, as far as I'm concerned. I think that he's a must sell. He's peak value. He won't sign another contract. His peak reputation. And I think this is the whole transfer model that we say we've got. This is exactly the right time to do it. We get bitten badly when we didn't sell the likes of Morelos and Kent when they were at their peak value. We need to do what we're asking. And not only do we need to do what we're asking, it then funds, I think, what Derek McInnes would really like to do with so many different other areas of the team. Because if you want to talk about getting a high-value winger, you want to talk about getting a high-value leader or a midfield player, you want to get a couple of good centre-halves, you're going to need quite a bit of cash to do that. And sales are the best way of generating it. So for me, Raskin's got to go. I think after bringing in Devlin and bringing in Neil and potentially bringing in this Serbian who there's still stories going about that transfers every chance of happening. If we bring in 3 basically defensive midfield number 6s like that, then I don't see where Conor Barron fits in, to be honest with you. I think for the good of him, as much as the good of Rangers, then I think he's got to move on. And I actually think he's a player that could do really well in some leagues abroad. I think he's got qualities that I think would be quite good in somewhere like Italy. In terms of your Asgars, your Bajramis, your Gasamas, your Antmans, a lot depends on who wants them and what they're willing to pay for them. Because I don't think there's any of them that you can sit and say they have done so well at Rangers that you wouldn't entertain bids for them. Let's just see what the interest is in them. If the stories are right about Asgard and it was Atalanta wanting to be bidding some ridiculous amount of money for him, I'll pay his plane ticket. It's as simple as that. You can't possibly turn that down. And as you say, I'm not sure where he fits in anyway, in terms of the way Derek McInnes looks like he's going to set the team up. So we can't sell them all, but at the same time, I don't think we can sit here and say that list of names, he must not be sold. I think it's a case of see what the market determines in some of them. But there are others who have to go. Cifuentes, my God, I can see him being another one of these loans every 6 months until his contract's up, because everywhere he goes, he seems to flop. I don't know who's going to be crazy enough to actually give us any money for him. Insiala's got to go, and I think Lyle Cameron's got to go as well. And for all that I like him, I just don't think he's good enough for a winning Rangers team. If that sounds harsh, I'm sorry, but I just don't think he's good enough.
No, listen, we're all entitled to our opinions. Kenny, is there anything there? Is there anybody you would like to see stay? Is there anybody that you want to move on? Kenny said, Davey was saying there, Kenny, that it's a must go for Nico Raskin. I understand that. I think if anybody's given me 20-25 million for Nico Raskin, I understand it's the best time to do it. Rangers first at all times. So with that, I'd probably say correct. I don't disagree with what Davey's saying about, Asgard, and I think are we all on the same page here? It feels like we must be. Is there anybody, Kenny, that you're thinking you would maybe not want to go? Is Raskin a must sell? What's your thoughts on what Davey said there?
I agree with Davey on Nico Raskin, and it's not because I don't like the player. I actually do like Nico Raskin as a player, and I've said it a billion times on here that I genuinely feel that he's been slightly let down by his teammates at times, and he ends up trying to be a jack of all trades and does tries to do far too many things all at the one time, and it affects his game. But at times you'll see him in between the centre halves, then he's trying to go box to box, and he's trying to play killer balls, and he's trying to be a terrier, and you can't do it all. And I think that's because we've had a midfield over the last couple of seasons that's so similar. All the players are very similar. So I agree with Davey. I think this is you have to, as a football club, if you want to be serious about a player trading model, you have to look at saying, well, there's your prize asset at this minute in time. He's just played in a World Cup quarter-final. He's won the ball back more times in those quarter-finals than any other player in those 4 games. So you have to understand what he's capable of and use that, if you're Rangers, to your advantage. For me personally, you turn around and you say to his agent, go and hawk him about Europe. Where is it he fancies going? And go and try and get him a club. This is how much money we're looking for, whether it's 20, 25, whatever it's going to be. It's kind of, we've discussed this on the phone, lads, many for a long time now. How much is he worth? And it's difficult because Davey had mentioned it and said, well, at the end of the day, and I'm loath to bring this particular player up because we've talked about him all the time, but he said, but effectively, if he pays for Lewis Ferguson, then you sell him for whatever Lewis Ferguson is going to cost you. And that's fair, isn't it? I mean, you would look at that and say, it's just one in, one out, and you've got a captain on your hands again, a Scottish boy that knows our football club and stuff. But the point I would make, more than Nico Raskin, is that if Nico was to go, then I don't want to see Manny Fernandez or Yusuf Chermiti go. I don't think we need to do that. I think we keep them the other season, then you punt one on. It's that simple. And your player trading model starts to work every single year. Because I genuinely believe that Manny Fernandez and Yusuf Chermiti will do a great job for us next season if they're here. I genuinely do feel that. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. The rest, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. And I don't like being callous or sounding hard. I actually don't care who comes and goes in that sense. I think when you're Rangers and you finish third, a lot of players need replaced. And it's, with all due respect to Derek McInnes, it's his job to deal with that and identify what he sees in a player and whether he can get something out of him. But me personally, I would look at every single one of them, from Diamande to Telo Asgard, Bayrami, Ant-Man, Jerry Gassama. Couldn't care less. I've got to be honest. And I don't, and as I say, I know it sounds a bit harsh, but for me, you've got to be ruthless.
Yeah, absolutely. Incomings, Cammy Devlin has signed for Rangers. That was breaking news on Saturday morning. I covered this and we spoke about it a lot, myself and Andrew, on Saturday. It was rumoured on Friday night. We got word the deal was done. And it was done superbly quickly by Rangers. All of a sudden, Saturday, it was announced. Pretty sure that Cammy Devlin was in the building on Thursday. A little bit of a salty exit statement by Hearts gave us an idea that he was coming along the road. Quite enjoy that. Noising up other teams. What do we make of Cammy Devlin, boys? I've had my say on it. I would rather hear from you, Davey. Let's start with you first. Cammy Devlin is in the door. What do you make of it?
I think he was one of the best midfielders in the Premier League last year, or Premiership. I think that Hearts were definitely weaker without him. Whenever he didn't play, we weren't as effective as when he was there. The manager's got great faith and trust in him. He's going to a team with a manager now that he believes in as well. And I think the key as well is that not only are we getting one of the Premiership's best players last year, we're getting him for nothing. So it's not as if we're sitting here saying we've spent $5 million in Cammy Devlin. We got him for zero. And when you look at that, it's I hate using the expression no-brainer, but I'm trying to think of another expression for it, because one of the best midfield players in the league for free. He's at a good age. He's another one of these bad loser types. He's aggressive. He's a ball winner. He'll take a yellow card if he needs one. I think he's a lot of the things that we said we wanted last season. So for me, it's a really sensible signing, and it's not only a sensible signing; it's a sensible signing for no money, which is absolutely perfect.
Kenny, Cammy Devlin is in the building. Your thoughts?
Very similar to Davey. I would turn in and say that he looks almost like a direct replacement for Conor Barron in the squad. If you're getting, for talking sake, £6 million for Conor Barron, whether he goes to Eintracht Frankfurt, Lazio, Bologna, West Ham, all these clubs that are getting linked with him, you're going to get decent money because there is so many interested. What that does is allow Derek McInnes to get this free transfer. And I've seen Kai's stats on it. I don't know if you've clocked that. Kai put the stats up yesterday, I think it was, and they're very similar statistically. Conor Barron and Cammy Devlin. Cammy Devlin is better in certain areas, and Conor Barron was slightly better in others. But there's not much in this statistically. But I will always judge it with my eyes, and I think Cammy Devlin, this is where I'm agreeing with Davey, had a great season last season, and you really did see the difference for Hearts when he wasn't playing. That midfield wasn't as good. he's not the most talented individual in terms of ability, but he's got that determination, that terrier like nipping at people's ankles, kicking at folk. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching him over the last couple of seasons, kicking Callum McGregor up and down the pitch. Every time he plays him, it's been thoroughly entertaining, and it really rattles Callum McGregor. And what it does is allow Derek McInnes to look at the money that he gets for Conor Barron, investing it elsewhere. So I'm quite happy with this, because I've never been 100% convinced that Conor Barron's going to be a regular for Rangers, whereas I've got a sneaky feeling that Cammy Devlin might surprise us, Stevie.
Okay, I think Cammy Devlin will be really good in games that we need to battle, and we need to win the ball back, and we need to show grit and determination. By the way, like Tannadice on a Friday night, I think that's where your McCrorys and things will really come to the fore. However, do I think he's great, or do I think he's Rangers level and things like that, or the level I really want Rangers to be at? I'm not sure. I think his ball distribution is really poor. What is Rangers level? You can argue our level was last year at this current time. I'm pleased he's here. Am I overly convinced, gentlemen? I'm not sure. The three guys and the ones that I don't think much of, and that are normally the ones that surprise me the most. So I'm hopeful that Cammy Devlin's going to do that. I understand why he's here. I'm worried about how he'll be refereed by our refs, because I think our refs are disgustingly bad. But you need, what Derek McInnes is clearly doing is building a team, and I can't be two-faced. I sat here at the start of this summer and said, Kenny, I think we'll get players that are maybe not fancied and will be part of the squad and part of the team, and Devlin and your McCrorys and things like that are that. We're building a squad. We do need quality. We have been linked with that. Vanja Dragicevic, still suggestions that Rangers are far down the line with this. Partizan want the best part of 5 million. Rangers are 5.5 million. I think they want. Rangers went in 4.3, 4.8. So that's going to be met somewhere if Rangers really want it to. Jens Herto Dahl, 20 years old, huge prospect. Spoke at the weekend, his preferred move is Rangers, but he spoke and he was interestingly, he said that he might have to wait for that move. Is that indicating to us that maybe Rangers have said, yep, but we just need to get rid of a few first before we come for you? Scored a belter at the weekend, a midfielder that can shoot like that. Come on up the road, son. That's what I thought straight away. Don't know a lot about him, but that was quite nice. So there is going to be changes there. We are still linked. Vaclav Cerny remains somebody that's constantly been speculated, rumours that Rangers would bid for or have bid for them. I don't think that's been firmed up anywhere. 18 goals, 9 assists for Rangers season 4 last. Turkish reports are never the most reliable. There's been nothing solid yet. And then there's the Troyes left-sided centre-back, Sankion Diawara, 20 years old, 6'3", known for physicality. He's the one that Rangers seem to now be targeting for the left side of defence. I think there was a real interest in Luke Graham, who ended up going down to Stoke. I don't think he wanted to stay in Scotland. He wanted that move. I think Rangers were waiting to see where that would go. Now they've shifted to Diawara. So Rangers have said that it's a left-sided centre-back and a right-sided winger that are the priorities now for them next. That makes sense to me, Kenny. I think that if you get them, you might then see your likes, your Raskins, your Diamandis, your Barons, your Cifuentes, your Souters, your Danilo all moving as we get these boys in. And then that'll allow us to maybe go and get a Dahl or a Dragicevic or a Lewis Ferguson.
Exactly. On the Dahl one, the boys got a goal every 5 games from midfield in a very decent league in the Norwegian league. So I would be very excited about that one. I seen his goal the other week. I've watched some YouTube reels of this kid, and he just looks. He looks a player, and big, strong, physical guy as well. So Dragicevic is another one that you look at and say we seem very, very keen on this. 2 young lads and you're building a team, you're building a squad, and I do agree with you. I think something like maybe it's something that we don't know. Maybe the Conor Barron one is farther down the line, and then we know or whatever, and they're actually turning around and saying to the kid, look, we have to offload. So bide your time. Don't go signing for Besiktas just yet. If you want to come here, you will get your move. We are desperately keen to get you here, but we need to offload first. So it could be that, Stevie. But listen, I think we all feel the same when it comes to. I think the Nico Raskin situation is the one that I think we're all kind of sitting waiting on, because I do genuinely believe that if Nico Raskin was to go, that's where the massive outlay is going to come from. And it might well be that it's Lewis Ferguson. Everything's very, very hush-hush. I heard his dad talking about it the other day there, and his dad was not for giving anything away, but I think a lot of the time you can read between the lines and what people don't say. And I think there is definitely something in it, put it that way, because he didn't kibosh it at all. All he said was that we have to remember that Bologna are very happy and keen to keep their captain. So that almost, as I say, when you start reading between the lines, and I think that's where I'm at when it comes to, listen, what you have to say very quickly is that all our business so far, I mean, I seen somebody in the comments saying that we get £2 million for Danny Rule. I think we get another X amount for his staff. We've got Derek McInnes in. We've got 2 of their players in, and we've made money on that. And we haven't spent huge amounts of money yet, Stevie. So it is one of those that you look at and you say, 3 million, 6 million for the keeper, 3 million going down, back down the road. And you're sitting saying we've not spent huge amounts so far. So we'll wait and see. But I do think it's more to do with a bloated squad and just the idea that we end up come this window shutting that we've got 40 players in our squad and we don't want that. So I think that's where that's coming from.
Davey, the big moves for Rangers out and in have still to be done. How do you try and reassure people for a wee bit of patience? It's not possible at Rangers, is it?
Patience, don't know what it is. Yeah, this is only the 13th of July. The transfer window doesn't close to the end of August, doesn't it? So there's going to be lots of things happen between now and then. I think it's absolutely right to say that outgoings are going to drive this sort of business after that, aren't they? Raskin's the big one, but there could be 2 or 3 others that we sell for X millions as well, Barron being one. So for me, there's somewhere between 25 and 30 million quid for they 2 for a start. I'm really, really keen on getting this guy Dahl for everything that I've seen about him, everything I've read about him. I think that's a profile that we do not have, a box-to-box goal-scoring midfielder. I genuinely think that goals from midfield is something that we have struggled to do for far too long. And other players we're linked with, like the big Serb, I don't think he'll bring it. Dan Neil's not going to bring it. Cammy Devlin's not going to bring it. I think there is another bit of the jigsaw in the midfield still to put into place. Whether it's this boy Dahl or someone else, but I do think we need to get someone who's more of a goal threat from the middle of the park. Lewis Ferguson's the other one. Everybody knows I'm desperate for Rangers to sign him. And if Barron and Raskin end up paying for Ferguson and Dahl and half a Cerny, then I'll be absolutely delighted about that. As far as Cerny's concerned, because he got mentioned earlier on, I think if it wasn't for his age, every other box gets ticked in spades in terms of what we're looking for. We want somebody in the right that's going to give a goal threat, that's going to provide assists, that's going to score goals, that knows the league, who can beat players, who can be relied on, who's not injury prone. All these, he's ticked every single box apart from his age, and it's just a case of whether the club think that. Well, I don't know what it's going to be, 5-6 million quid for a 29-year-old is worth it. The counter argument, of course, being that if he scores 18 goals again, if he comes back, and those 18 goals are the difference between finishing first and finishing second, then it's money well spent.
Yeah, I just think that with regards to Rangers business so far, most of the business that we've done has been short and sharp, and nobody's seen it coming. Might have been rumoured, but it's been done very quickly and all of a sudden announced. I think that we can sit patiently and see what's going to happen next. I think that's easy for me to say, and I know that not many will agree with it, but I think that when we go to Tynecastle on a couple of Fridays away, I think Tannadice rather, when we go on a couple of Fridays away, we'll look extremely different to what we even do now. So yeah, I'm confident, happy enough with where we are at this minute. And we'll just need to wait and see. What I would like to say is a huge thank you to the boys, Kenny. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it very much.
Not at all. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thanks, Stevie. Thanks, Davey. Good wee show.
Davey, thank you, mate. Good to see you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back in the old Monday night saddle. Yeah, it was good fun. And I can see there's been a lot of breaking news pods over the next few weeks, so I'll keep myself in standby.
Yeah, we'll need all hands to the pump, I should imagine, in the coming weeks. Good show, boys. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the comments, everybody that has joined in. Really appreciate it. Huge thanks to our sponsors once more, CBD Oil Scotland. You get a massive 30% off if you go onto the website and quote 4 lads. You will get that reduction. Our very own Candid, LBJ Consultants, Elite Scooter Scotland, Metaclad, our official roofing partners, and Aesthetics by Sharon, where you can get 10% off by quoting 4 lads on the website or to book. All of the details of our sponsors are in the description of the show. £6,000 we've raised this year to go straight to Rangers Football Club for advertising and player sponsors. Spoke to Rangers today. We are looking forward to getting that money to the football club and continuing with our partnership with the football club over the season. What do we have coming up on 4 Lads this week? Tomorrow, we've got a special show, 7 o'clock. We will be live. Really looking forward to having guests on. You may remember the old boy on Twitter called Greg Cole. Greg Rudder, he will be on with us, and his brother Grant. We're really looking forward to having the Brother Boys on tomorrow. We will be talking about 2 pints in a shot. We'll be talking about Rangers. We'll be talking about Derek McInnes and everything that involves. So that'll be interesting to see. Then on Wednesday night, Kenny and I will be back on the show. Davy's History Show goes out on Thursday night. Really great show. With your history years of Rangers Football Club, everything that's happened in that week past. Really popular show, so get in amongst that. Friday night, Boys Are Back, live show. Saturday, Heart and Health. Sunday, live show. Back to Monday, a show every single night. So I hope that people are enjoying the content. If you want to become a member, we are 1,200 strong now. Unbelievable support. If you want to become a member, you can get that in the description of the show also, or you can just simply click on the banner, which has been QR code, which has been in the corner for most of the show as well. So thank you everybody for your support. We look forward to seeing you on Wednesday night. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. We'll be back then. So can I just interrupt just one thing before we go? Connor Barron is in Spain. He joined up with the squad the other day. So yeah, he is in Spain. He was a day late. He went to see a specialist because he had fluids in his knee. So Connor Barron is in Spain with the squad. He wasn't stripped last night just because they were looking at his injury. A couple of people talking about it in the comments. So yes, that is why he is now in Spain. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night for us, with the World Cup both kicking off at 8 on Wednesday. So Kenny and I will be done by 8 o'clock on Wednesday, and we'll be done by 8 o'clock tomorrow night, so we can all watch the football. So all I would say is have a great day tomorrow. Enjoy the weather. It's seems going to be nice, so go and enjoy that. Thanks for joining us. Everybody take care, and we will see you again soon. The 4 Lads Rangers podcast is sponsored by Candid, LBJ Consultants, CBD Oil Scotland, Elite Scooter Scotland, and Metaclad, 4 Lads exclusive roofing partner. The Aesthetics Lounge by Sharon. in partnership with Black Rooster, Art of Gold and Rangers Youth Development Company. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Four Lads Podcast is delighted to be sponsored by CBD Oil Scotland. Get a massive 30% off now for all their gummies and their oils. Go and check them out. These help with things like stress, anxiety, sleep patterns, mood, depression, even stuff like fibromyalgia. Go and check them out, cbdoilscotland.com. Use the code 4Lads to get a massive 30% off. You enter right now and you'll be in the hospitality draw for tickets for Rangers versus West Ham, Derek McInnes's first game in charge, and you will get that opportunity not only to get 30% off, but you'll also be in the draw for hospitality tickets for West Ham. If you don't want to use the website, you can come into either shop here in Thornley Bank or in Kinnan Park. It's called Bits and Bongs. You go in there, use the code 4Lads and you'll get a massive 30% off. We're delighted CBD Oil Scotland are sponsoring 4Lads. Check it out and go and help yourself to some oils, some gummies with a fantastic 30% off.